June 17 marks the 4-year anniversary of Shadowverse, and what better way to commemorate the occasion than by giving new players access to top decks played in the current meta. Each player will get access to 1 out of 8 choices, each with their own strategy and win condition. Any of these decks can be tested in the new trial feature, but only one can be redeemed with your free 4th birthday temporary deck ticket for ladder play. Our pro players put together this review of how each deck works, so you can play Shadowverse with a style that best suits you. Before we continue, don't forget to like and subscribe for the latest in tempo strategy. Let's break down what each of these 8 decks do. For players who like reactive games and finishing off opponents with combos, Control Forestcraft may be for you. The deck features a lot of small, low-cost followers that work together to draw more cards, remove threats, heal, and more. The smallest and most powerful of these followers is Whirlwind Rhinoceros. Don't let its size fool you. This card can be played multiple times to eventually burst your opponent in a single turn. With a wide array of healing and control tools, this is one of the most powerful decks in the World Uprooted expansion. In the early game, you can safely ignore the board and focus on drawing more cards with Kokoro, Faithful Guide, Alchemical Confectioner, and Harvest Festival. The mid-game is also very flexible and can be tricky to navigate. Most evolution points should generally be used to return Whirlwind Rhinoceros to your hand. Other tools, such as Arya's Whirlwind and May Eager Elf, can be used to clear your enemy's board efficiently. The strategy of the deck is to play Rhinoceros over and over again by using evolution points or bounce effects on other cards. Control Forest just needs you to survive until around turn 8 or 9 to secure a win condition most of the time. Most variants of Control Forest in the World Uprooted meta are very close to what the Prebuilt offers, so this deck can easily be played without making any changes. If mid-range contests for the board and playing the value game is your preference, Levín Sword is a standout deck in this promotion. Levín Sword is a deck that includes many cards with the Levín trait that synergize with each other. Their synergy with the Evolve mechanic allows a player to utilize powerful Union Burst effects in the late game for no extra cost. The more followers you evolve, the sooner you unlock your Union Burst effects. In the early game, aim to curve out, filling out your mana curve with cost-efficient cards every turn. Make sure to take good trades whenever you can in the early game to build up a board advantage, and go for combos like holding on to Mirror Image to use with Kagemitsu Matchless Blade. Regal Wildcat can also be combined with Kagemitsu Matchless Blade in the late game for great damage. Track the number of allied followers that have been destroyed to make the most of this ability by turn 7. There are a lot of different types of aggressive or mid-range decks that take the strongest parts of small synergy packages in Swordcraft, like trait-based synergy with Machina or Levín, Evolve synergy, or Officer Commander synergy. For a more spell-oriented combo, Natura Rune takes the best of both previous archetypes under the Natura Great Tree archetype. Play 7 of these trees, and a buffed-up Riley Hydro Shaman will emerge from your deck, allowing you to attack your opponent directly. In combination with a Union Burst from Carol Catty Sorceress, this deck rewards the player who calculates the opponent's possibilities in addition to their own. If you don't have Carol Catty Sorceress early, it's necessary to lethal in multiple turns. This can often require slightly more damage than just 2 turns of invoking a copy of a Riley Hydro Shaman from your deck to attacking face. Gabriel Heavenly Voice or an 8-cost Forbidden Dark Mage are 2 options to deal the last pieces of damage needed to secure the victory. In short, just remember to hold on to your evolution points for the possibility of 1 turn killing your opponent by turn 7. Any cards that generate Natura Great Trees will be ideal keeps in the mulligan phase. If this is your style of deck, there are budget versions available to craft for your own to make the most of this straightforward game plan in Ranked. For players who like to ramp to big and powerful followers as early as possible, Natura Dragon is the best deck to do so. The centerpiece of this deck, Natura Machinas, can fuse with Natura or Machina cards and take over the board along with a handful of cost-reduced followers while replenishing your hand. The card draw from Steelstorm Dragon Newt and Lightning Velociraptor provide great support for the deck, and Valdane Cursed Shadow makes for a powerful win condition in the late game to finish off your opponent. The key to this deck is to prioritize ramping early to unlock the deck's best turns as early as possible. If you do not already have your Natura Machinas in hand, fitting Natura Great Trees into your turns will increase the odds of drawing Natura Machinas or winning the game with chip damage caused by Shadow's Corrosion. As one of the most popular decks in the World Uprooted expansion, Natura Dragon is able to win games with powerful hands, even if new players make mistakes like playing cards out of order. Just be sure to manage your resources when most needed to make the most of your late game win conditions. For our final featured Natura archetype, here's another combo deck that can burn through enemy defenses to deal direct damage to your opponent. To achieve this, Natura Shadowcraft plays a lot of cards with the last word effect. When 10 last words effect have been activated, Toth's passive effect will cause every card that comes onto the board to deal 2 damage to the enemy leader as a last word effect. The dead followers also generate shadows to activate powerful necromancy effects that allows you to survive until Toth comes down. As one of the more straightforward decks in the game, this is a very good choice for newcomers who want to play a board-centric game where every loss on the board contributes to a winning strategy. Against mid-range decks, if opponents have not committed many resources to the board, you generally want to hold on to your power cards such as Lubel Necro family. Instead, use every opportunity to generate more last words effects, such as those from Revenant Ram or the Nataran Great Tree that it generates to build towards your Toth game plan. This pre-built deck offers most of the core cards in a meta Natura Shadow deck. Nightmare Devourer is a popular card from the World Uprooted expansion that synergizes quite well with this deck, while some builds make use of Sarcophagus Wraith for more card draw. For aggro players looking to pile on the damage by more direct means, mid-range Bloodcraft is the best in doing so. The deck plays lots of cheap followers in the early game to push as much damage as possible before finishing off the opponent by dealing direct damage from hand. This deck has high-value cards such as Unleash the Nightmare that can generate additional resources while summoning followers onto the board, so playing it on turn 3 can be a complete game changer, so always play it when possible. Against decks that summon lots of cheap followers, such as Machina Blood, Artifact Portal, or Natura Shadow, saving 2 copies of Urias Traitor's Duke to play on the same turn can be incredibly effective in swinging the game back in your favor. Being low on health is generally favorable for mid-range Bloodcraft, since it activates Bloodcraft's Vengeance mechanic when your leader is at 10 defense, and some cards such as Lucius Vampire Slayer's removal effect scales with missing health. While Machina Blood is by far the most popular Blood deck, mid-range Blood can still be very threatening, as it often demands that opponents have tremendous amounts of healing to stay alive. This deck is very simple to play despite being extremely punishing to the opponent, and having that kind of an edge can certainly alleviate a lot of pressure from a newer player, especially in a competitive setting. Combining the power of Natura and Machina synergies, Machina Elana Havencraft specializes in creating powerful boards to overwhelm the opponent. The archetype features Robo-Whip Reverend and Elana Purist Player, 2 cards that allow you to make your followers stronger every time you heal your leader. Justine Holy Almirage helps ensure there is always a source of healing available. The deck also includes Lemonia Flawed Saint, who grants a permanent leader effect that converts destroyed Machina followers into tokens, which add up to summon one of the biggest and permanent damage dealers in the game. The pre-build presented is card for card the most popular and successful Havencraft deck in World Uprooted. While it may not be considered as a tier 1 deck in the current World Uprooted meta, this deck has produced multiple noteworthy tournament results. It is also considered one of the most difficult decks to pilot in this expansion, rewarding good planning, fast thinking, and precise execution, ideal for new players looking for a challenge with divine board states. Our last featured deck is a board-based mid-range deck with a powerful combo. This deck utilizes cards such as Absolute Modesty and Vertex Colony that scale with the number of different artifacts destroyed during the game. Paradigm Shift, a card that gets cheaper every time an artifact is destroyed and can also summon 3 powerful and unique artifacts, allows you to adapt to all kinds of situations, create an explosive turn, all while building your artifact count. This artifact generation can either combo out a win in the late game or establish a powerful mid-range deck as early as turn 6. This Artifact Portal pre-built deck is unbelievably good. This exact list could actually be played in tournaments today. In fact, many players run a slightly cheaper version by cutting the 3rd copy of Iron Sting Archaeologist. This pre-built deck is a one-stop shop for Artifact Portal, as every single legendary and gold card is included at maximum copies. Artifact is one of the strongest decks in the World Uprooted meta, so this deck is incredibly high value. And that wraps up our rundown on the 8 decks offered during this special anniversary of Shadowverse. A more extensive review of each deck is also available on the website in the link below. From value and difficulty ratings, mulligan guides, tournament decks with similar lists, and strategy breakdown, pro players Noir, Essia, and Potwasher offer the best insights that Shadowverse has to offer. Thank you for watching our Shadowverse 4-year anniversary pre-built deck guide. Look forward to more videos this week, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more meta developments and insights into your favorite strategy games.